going on today. The Chinese markets are closed as they were yesterday. It is the 70th anniversary of the end of World War II. The Chinese are celebrating it big time by showcasing all their latest military stuff and reminding the world that despite the fact they're showing off that impressive arsenal, they don't intend to use it. They've already committed to cutting 300,000 troops, but we should also point out that China already has 2 million soldiers, active, standing soldiers. Well, they're not always all standing. Some of them sit down now and then. But the point of the matter is that is a big force of troops. Mike Baker says that alone is reason enough to at least take with a grain of salt any of these commitments to peace. Mike, what do you make of this showcasing?
Well, first of all, congratulations on breaking the news that some of their troops do sit down.
Yes, well, anything I can do. Anything I can do.
That's confounded the intel community for years. It's an interesting thing, but what we have to look at is sort of the top line and then get into the weeds a little bit. Particularly the naval buildup. And there's been some recent things in this parade that you mentioned. 12,000 troops, all the latest sophisticated military hardware, 30 some odd world leaders attended this big parade in Beijing to celebrate the end of World War II. At the same time, up in Alaska, 5 Chinese naval ships sailed, remaining in international waters, but sailed about 12 nautical miles off the coast of Alaska as they made their way through the Aleutian Islands. And that was after joining Russia for a large military exercise at the end of August. What all this means is, look, the Chinese have for generations, decades now, have resented what they view as U.S. encroachment in their territorial waters in the Pacific. And so a lot of what we see now is a change in conventional wisdom. Conventional wisdom has been that the Chinese military has been about a defensive posture and has been about a potential conflict with Taiwan. Well, that's changing. The buildup of the naval capabilities, a blue water navy that China is building in a very aggressive and rapid manner, is all about sort of a power projection around the globe. And that is a complete turnaround from what we've always thought of when we think of Chinese military power.
But obviously they feel emboldened to do this, as did the Russians. I guess they had subs just off the coast of Georgia, not the country of Georgia, our state of Georgia. I just wonder why all of this activity together with the Chinese thing. If you think about it, well, the president was there looking at some melting glaciers, right?
Yeah, President Obama was staring down a glacier, commanding it to stop its retreat. And meanwhile, 5 Chinese naval ships are sailing right off the coast of Alaska. The Chinese authorities, they don't do anything randomly. So there's always a message to be delivered in some fashion. And we have a cottage industry here in the U.S. of government experts and pundits trying to parse what all that means. But essentially, you know, we have to, again, focus on the reality is that the Chinese have been expanding their activities everywhere from the Philippine Sea to the Mediterranean, the South China Sea, obviously. Their buildup of everything from carriers to diesel, nuclear submarines, anti-ship ballistic missile systems over the past several years has been fairly remarkable. And again, it's all about delivering this projection of power, and that's where they are heading. That's what they want to imply. They're going back to this idea that, look, the Pacific no longer belongs to the U.S., and part of that is, again, our retreat off the world stage. I mean, nothing ever happens in a bubble, so it's not as if China is just now randomly saying we're going to project our power out through the Pacific and elsewhere. Part of it is what they perceive as a retreat by the U.S. as the leading power in the world. We want to get off that world stage. Well, somebody's going to fill that vacuum.
And they already have. All right, Mr. Baker, good seeing you again, my friend.